Greetings everybody. Nerissa here. I am coming here today, and in this video I want to talk about autistic stimming, which is a behavior that is usually presented by autistic individuals. If you have followed through from the videos that I did from the 1st of April, we spoke about the behavioral signs of autism. Stimming is one of the behaviors that make it very evident that an individual could be autistic, because that is one of the signs. Even in public areas, they will just stim. It's not a premeditated behavior. It's a natural body sway of an individual who is on the autism spectrum to self-regulate, to deal with sensory overload. So they will just stim. And it's very noticeable, it's evident to everyone that this individual who is among us is different from the rest of us. And for most people, for most parents and for most carers, stimming is when they are little one, when they are when their individual or loved one who is on the autism spectrum is stimming. It's sort of embarrassing. It makes people uncomfortable. For example, if you are sitting in a church service and your child is stimming, it makes you very uncomfortable, because everyone starts looking at you and wondering why you are not stopping your child to do that. Why are you not stopping your child from doing that? Even if you are seated in a bus, even if you are even in a shop, even in a crowded place, it could be a restaurant or even a park, even in your own house, it's a noticeable behavior, stimming. So I want to explain. You have seen this behavior. It could be flapping of hands, rocking. So we want to talk about why they stim. Why do they stim? What we have emphasized is that it's a self-stimulatory behavior. It's to stimulate themselves, to regulate, and it is a repetitive movement or sounds that help the person to regulate themselves. So it's very essential for regulation. So if you understand that it's essential for regulations, you're not going to stop it. Examples of stimming: hand flapping, rocking back and forth, spinning objects. They could be seated just spinning their objects, whatever they will be having, they have access to, they will be spinning. They can also repeat sounds or words, which is echolalia, as a form of stimming as well. And even finger tapping, or even if you have seen some people tapping their feet non-stop, and everyone stims, just like tapping your foot. Everyone does stim, but it's more common, more loud, more visible, more evident, more noticeable in autistic people, because they do it in a more evident. Everyone, I've seen people in meetings in boardrooms tapping their fingers, spinning objects. I've seen them doing that, but then they don't do it in a way that is continuous or disruptive or drawing attention as individuals on the autism spectrum would do. Now that we know that everyone stims, why do autistic individuals stim continuously? They do that, number one, to calm down. It helps to reduce stress or anxiety. Number two, to express excitement. Happiness can come out as movement or sounds, to just express their excitement. Number three, to manage sensory overload. Individuals on the autism spectrum, they stim to manage sensory overload. It helps out to block the overwhelming noise, the lights, the environment. Remember, in one of the videos we said individuals on the autism spectrum might not be able to tell you, to express their needs or feelings. The lights in that room might be too much. The noise might be too much. So what do? They start stimming so that they manage that sensory overload. Number four, they do that so that they can focus. Some people on the autism spectrum, they stim so that they can concentrate on one particular thing. They can be tapping their feet but concentrating on the task at hand. The most important thing to remember about stimming is that it is not a bad behavior to be stopped. Stimming is not a bad behavior that we should stop. We should not interrupt it, actually. We should only be concerned. Let's talk about when should you be concerned when an individual is stimming. Only if it causes harm, either self-harm or harming others, or if it interferes with the daily life. In those cases, support, not punishment, is needed. You need to support them in a way that meets their needs, not stopping them or not punishing them. So how do we support an individual who stims? Don't shame them or stop them. Please do not stop someone from stimming. Do not shame them. It's not necessary. And it's derogatory. Number 2, create a safe environment. Let them feel comfortable to stim. Offer alternatives if needed, like fidget toys. Offer the alternative or a trampoline. Be understanding and kind to them. Be understanding. That stimming can actually save you from a meltdown. Because if they have sensory overload, then what is going to happen next? A meltdown. Stimming isn't something to stop. It's something to understand and actually encourage. Once you realize that they are stimming, with the understanding that they are self-regulating, encourage them. Encourage them. Because now we know that they are doing this to regulate their emotions. They are doing this to ease their sensory overload. We actually encourage it. So next time you're seated in church and you see a child next to you stimming, don't even stare at them. Actually, staring at them is embarrassing. In other words, you are giving them an impression that, what are you doing? Stop that. You're actually telling them to stop. You know, when people stare at you, you feel very uncomfortable and eventually you will stop. And you might not want to come back again into that environment. Would you want to be stared when you are doing something that regulates you? Would you want people to stare at you? In conclusion, I want to add more examples or common types of stimming that we mentioned: hand flapping, rocking, spinning, jumping. Then we also mentioned the repeating of sounds or words and humming, clicking noises. I also want to mention these visual stimming. Common visual stimming examples is watching spinning objects, flicking fingers in front of eyes, like they can just do, because all they want that visual suggestion that is coming with them seeing something spinning. Rubbing object, playing with textures. So we know we have to respond with understanding, not judgment, and respect their way of self-regulation. See you in the next video.